So NLNE, as you all know, is 54 partners right now. Super excited about that. Our partners represent all sectors throughout the Texas Pantex. That's very important. Talking about trying to lead people to the pathways of the quality credential, we have to be sharing, engage members of all sectors so that we can reach all people. So our 54 partners are working on 31 initiatives, and those initiatives are all geared to leading people to quality credential, to the pathways of a quality credential, and making sure that they succeed on that pathway. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So all of the initiatives that we are working on right now connect people to resources, they connect people to people, they connect people to opportunities, and they connect people to information. So that's kind of what we're working on. And on our website, goplan.life, under Join Us or Join NLNE, we have a list of all the different ways our partners can get involved. And I would encourage you, if you're not a partner, to take a look at that and see how you would like to get involved. And if you are a partner, maybe take a look at that and see if there are any other ways that your organization might want to be involved. Oops. Most of the initiatives are facilitated through GoPlan 2.0, the way we connect people to people, people to resources, and people to opportunities. Right now on GoPlan 2.0, we currently have 559 users. That's not as many as we wanted, but our plans for launching the app kind of got halted by COVID because the plans were supposed to happen right after spring break on all the school campuses. So we are relaunching the app in September and October on our campuses. And so we expect to get a whole lot more users from college to high school. As we also have a digital ad campaign going right now. We are trying to target individuals, adults who do not have a quality credential, and trying to get them to use the app. So it's really important that we have all the resources we need to support people who are using the app. You can see there kind of the breakdown by school of secondary users and by post-secondary users. Any questions about that? We have a lot more data that I would be willing to show. I probably need to find a way to share it with all of you each month, but data from the app that's very interesting. Right now, users of the app, whenever they go to the last step of their quality credential process, it's search local internships. And this is really, this is a great resource for all of our app users and for the community, and that is connected to Take Root, which is sponsored by the AEDC, and Sabrina Meck Perez is behind that. We really appreciate her for letting us connect the app to it. App users don't even realize they're actually going to another website. It's embedded inside of the app. But when they go to Take Root, when they click on there and they want an internship, it says 0 jobs. And so internships are so important right now. We are already seeing the data that shows that a lot more students are planning to take a gap year this year. And internships are a great way to keep those students on their credential pathway so that they don't fall off completely, because we don't want to lose them. So it all kind of goes in with our 20 in 2020 challenge, which Sabrina is going to tell us a little bit more about. But really quickly, I want to know if your company has scrapped plans for an internship because of COVID-19. I'm curious to know, because when we go on job searches and we're looking for internships, I went online and I found less than 10 internships posted on different job sites. One of them was actually virtual, but only one virtual, and less than 10 altogether. So I think that my assumption is that we have had to scrap plans for internships because of COVID. And hopefully what we're learning today about virtual internships will encourage some of you to go ahead and start those programs again. That's what I'm hoping. Not as many as I thought. Very good. Okay. So For our program today, we have Sabrina Meck Perez from the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation, who is going to talk to us a little bit about the annual challenge and some of the intern management resources that we offer, as well as Steve Sellars from West Texas A&M University to talk about how to connect A&M students to internships at your company. And then Nicole Eminger with CNS Pantex is going to talk to us about building internship capabilities. So as we do this, please feel free, before I turn it over to Sabrina, if you look at the bottom right hand of your Menti screen, you can click on either the comment or the question icon. And sorry, I'm looking away, I'm looking at a different screen. And that will allow you to ask a question. If you have any questions that you would want to ask during her presentation, and we'll have questions and answer sessions afterwards. You can also ask questions through the chat on Zoom. That's fine too, whatever is easiest for you, and we'll be monitoring that chat. So now I am going to turn it over to Sabrina. I am going to stop my screen share. And Sabrina, you can share your screen. Welcome and thank you for joining us. And
okay, perfect. So everyone can see my screen, yes?
yes.
Perfect, I see nods. Okay, so as you saw on the GoPlan app, it is pretty cool that Leanne and her team have decided to use Take Root to showcase available internships. I will show you really quickly how you can actually post and promote your open internship positions. Some of you may not have some at the moment, but after today and you decide, hey, we're going to do the virtual, we're going to do the remote version of internships, this would be a great place to promote them. You also want to make sure that you post them on WT and Amarillo College's internship boards as well, but this is a public community-wide internship board, and I'll show you why that's really important. So about a year ago, we created takerootinamarillo.com, which is a living, breathing website, basically to answer the question, why would you want to work and live in Amarillo? We heard from lots of employers that it's difficult for people to get acclimated to our area. We're not a very walkable city. We're a little bit more spread out, and we're very faith-based, so we can be very tight-knit. So some people who move here for jobs or for internships don't really get acclimated as well. And so we created a beautiful site with pictures and videos of real life people that actually live here and love it, and and tell the story of why you would want to work here. And so an aspect to that, we created a living wage job board to highlight our quality job positions that are open, but we also created this public internship board because right now students really find internships through their college career services, which actually Steve is going to talk about, and that's an awesome way to do that. But there are also a lot of students who go to school outside of our area for college. So the Austin area, A&M, Oklahoma, wherever that might be, we want to make sure that we can actually advertise to those students and say, hey, if you're coming home this summer, why not come and intern? If you're looking for an internship, why don't you come and intern in your hometown? This is a great opportunity to invite those students back to actually show them what working in Amarillo could offer them, which is actually completely different than going to school here as a high school student. So I'm going to show a quick video. It actually shows you how to post a job on our job board, but it's the same platform. So it's the exact same process and steps. Instead of full-time employee, you would just select intern. So I'm going to show you that really quickly, and I'm sorry, but it's going to be my voice you hear twice. So fun. Okay. Start at the menu and select job board. A new window will open that showcases a rotation of featured employers, along with multiple job categories below if a job seeker wanted to search by category. As an employer, you will want to select Post a Job in the top menu. First, you'll have to create a quick and simple employer profile. Here you can add a company logo and description, as well as embedding any videos about your company that you think will be beneficial for job seekers. Once you agree that you'll be posting a living wage job of at least $45,000 in annual salary or a $24 hourly rate, you'll be taken to the job posting. This does not apply to internships. You can post any paid or unpaid internship here. So now you can post your job. You can select the job type, category, and you can either add the salary or leave it blank. And here's the best part. You can link to your specific job posting, so that way when people click apply, they'll be taken directly to your company's available job. Or you can have them apply through the job board, and TakeRoot will email you the applications directly. Once you preview and post your new job, you can access informative stats in the My Account section. Here you can edit a job as well as duplicate or hide it. You can update your company profile and view insights into your job postings in the dashboard. Here you'll be able to see live job views, apply clicks, and applications. So happy recruiting with your newest talent attraction tool, TakeRoot and Amarillo.com. Okay, so that is a free service. It's pretty straightforward. You know, you create an employer profile and post your internships. So those will also feed into the GoPlan app. And then we have a separate internship page on our TakeRoot site, which you can actually go see if you want to go play around in there. It's a really pretty fun website to go look at. And when someone clicks Explore Internships, it'll take them to just the internships that have been posted. So if you have any free, paid, any type of internship, you can post that there. I do also want to mention our Amarillo intern experience. So we piloted this last year with a couple of employers. We, again, heard from employers that interns don't get acclimated very well, and sometimes they don't enjoy their experience working here in Amarillo because it's difficult to make friends. Again, our city is not very walkable, so you're not going to like bump into people and just start hanging out. So we decided to create some of those experiences for employers. So last year we did that with a couple employers. This year, unfortunately, due to COVID-19, there was a little bit of an adjustment, but we did host 2 events. We had Happy State Bank, Bell, our intern from the AEDC, and the Small Business Development Center. They got together, ate some good food, went to different places that they weren't usually going to, and then we also paired them up with our Elevate Amarillo Young Professional group, which was probably the best part, because then they get to ask questions to young professionals in the area, saying basically, why do you live here? And I'm not even kidding, we actually do get that question. So they're like, why do you live here? What's there to do here? And it's a great environment for them to just bounce their questions off of and enjoy the city a lot more, and then make friends with people outside of their organization. So I will read this quote out loud. This is from one of our interns this summer, and she's from Austin. So to get positive feedback from someone who lives in Austin, which is all about, you know, the social life, and there's so many things to do there, it's great to hear her feedback. So I'm just going to read this out loud real quick. It's cuter here than I imagined it to be. There's pretty much everything you could ever want nearby and accessible. I've had a great experience with my internship at Bell, and honestly would jump at the chance post-graduation to live here and start my career here. Plus, from what I've seen, the cost of living and housing is super appealing. So that's awesome to hear that from our interns. So if that's something that you're interested in, even if you're a nonprofit, a small business, larger business, it doesn't matter. If you have an intern, we'd love for them to get involved for next year. So if you want to get updates on that, you can just go to that link at the bottom of this screen, amarilloedc.com/workforce resources. There is a dash between those 2 words. And so you can get updates about that. So we're excited to be able to offer both of these resources to any employer in the area. We hope that you take advantage of that if you plan on advertising for any type of internship this fall. And I will say too, we did interview some universities from around the state, and we asked them, when do students look for summer internships? And a lot of them were in the fall. if it's a competitive internship at all, they're already going to be looking this fall for where they want to intern in the spring and summer of next year. So if you want to start even promoting for the next year, we'd love for you to start posting those. And I'll just leave my information here. Again, if there's a recording of this or if y'all want to take a screenshot, you go for it. So that's all my information if you have any questions at all. And I'll pass it back.
Feel free to unmute yourselves or to type in a question, either way, and I'll just give you a couple of seconds to do that.
Great job, Sabrina. It's an exciting program and good to see you recruiting new young people for this area. We'll pass it on.
Thank you.
Student media in a real world work environment, and it really affirmed for me that this is what I wanted to do after graduation.
My internship was also part of the last class I had to take that semester.
While attending Amarillo College, I had the opportunity to work at St. Andrew's Episcopal School as their social media and graphic design intern.
I had my foot in the door for the job that I wanted and I needed. So before I even graduated, I had a job in the career that I went to school for, which is phenomenal.
Our interns really get a unique opportunity to learn, but we also get an opportunity to meet them. And a lot of these interns and students come back and work with us in one way or another. Several of these internships have led to employment opportunities with us.
I got me an internship here at Alpha Media Amarillo, and as of today, I'm actually an employee. So definitely that's one benefit right there. It gets your foot in the door.
An internship gives a student a chance to really figure out if he wants to or she wants to go into that career. They'll learn some very valuable hands-on skills that they can use in no matter what field of job they go into.
It forced me to learn by doing. There was no tests to take or textbooks to read. It was all very hands-on.
We think it's very important to educate interns and make sure that they are future upstanding people in the workforce.
So I highly recommend anyone who's considering getting an internship to really go out there and get it. Just things you can learn in a classroom. Some things you just got to do it.
This was a great learning experience because I had the ability to work in my career field before I had even graduated college.
I started here as an intern myself, and now I am the program director at KGNC.
It also helped me learn so much about the community I've grown up in and spent my entire life in. And it made me realize that I don't have to go far away for jobs. There are plenty of opportunities right here in my own backyard.
Thanks to the AC internship program, I was able to start my life immediately.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the interns, and it's a great way for us to scout and look for talent in the workforce.
I would recommend an internship for anybody who is thinking about it, just because you don't know what you're going to learn.
Okay, sorry, I thought I was muted. So that was from Amarillo College, of course, a video that was done there, and it was fantastic. Sabrina, thank you for making all of that happen. Great video. And now Steve Sellars from West Texas A&M University is joining us and runs the internship programs department there at WTAMU. I am going to stop my share and allow you to take over. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad to be here. So let me see if I can share my screen. right, can y'all see that? Thumbs up if you can. Great. So, well, my name is Steve Sellars, and I'm the internship coordinator here at WT, and love Take Root that Sabrina does with AEDC. And, you know, once you post with them, the next thing that you need to do to maximize opportunity is to post with WT and Amarillo College. And if you cover those three bases, I mean, that's a really great way to get the word out about your internship program. And I know it's posting in 3 different places, but it's really not hard. And I know Sabrina will help you. I will help you here at WT, and AC will help you get it all posted there. So what I wanted to do for just a couple of minutes is just take you through what we can do for employers. And some of y'all may know some of this information, but I just wanted to briefly kind of go over some of the services that we have for you, because we want you guys to employ interns, because it's a win-win. It's definitely a win for the student and for you guys. Just like that AC video said, it's a great way to scout potential talent. And we're going to be past COVID-19 at some point, and hopefully, and we will. And you guys are going to need employees, and interns are a great way to find those. So some of the things that we do, we do career expos every semester. Even this semester, it's a little different this year, but we are having a virtual career expo. It's October 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I don't know if Leanne can send out my presentation to everybody later on, but we'll have all of this sent to you, and you can click on these links and get all of the details, but you can participate in that. Other things that we typically do that can help employers connect with students, we have networking nights. Those are usually connected to the Career Expo, where you can have an opportunity to meet and greet students. We can work with you to get into the classroom. A lot of our faculty are open for employers to come in and talk about what they do. We can help you make those connections. A lot of employers host information sessions on campus. Believe it or not, pizza is a motivator for students and for faculty and for staff. And so we can help you coordinate that and do an information session here on campus to get the word out. Sometimes we have employers that they'll do what they call office hours with us, and we'll just give them an office here in the Career Services Suite and advertise it, and students just come throughout the day with questions about their internship program and things like that. We can help you make connections with faculty. Again, we like to eat. Our faculty like to eat. We'll set up lunch, and we'll help you guys connect with faculty that are in touch with the students that you might be interested in. And then the last thing that I'll mention is we have a program called mock interviewing, where we have actual employers conduct practice interviews with students, and that helps you know, our students tremendously. But more times than I can count, I've seen employers do mock interviews and they find a great intern or employee just through those connections. So anyway, those are some of the things that we can do for employers. Finding interns is easy with us, and it's kind of just a 3-step process that I wanted to go over real quickly. One is step 1 is develop your internship job description. And we can help you with that. Sometimes I talk to employers and they're like, I don't really know how to do this. We can share example job descriptions. We can give you average pay rates of what interns in the area have been paid depending on their major. We can help you figure out what majors to target. So if you need help developing the job description, just reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you get that pulled together. I also, and I'll send this to Leanne, and maybe she can send it out to you guys as well too. And I think it's on our No Limits, No Excuses resource page for internships, but there's this great publication that a peer of mine put together called Starting and Maintaining Quality Internship Program. And it has great information. It's not long and you can get through it fairly quickly, but super information on, you know, how to get things started, how to make it a good quality experience. The second step is to post your internship on Handshake is our database. That's the name of our database where employers and students and alumni can connect. You know, students can post their resume there. Employers, that's where you put your job description. So it's easy to use. And again, we can help you with that. And in fact, on this PowerPoint, there's a link to a YouTube video about how to post your position to Handshake. And again, it's easy. And if you're having trouble, you can call us. We'll help you in any way that we can. So the second step is to post your internship on Handshake. And then what our office will do at that point is we'll help you market it across campus. We'll do email blast to faculty and to students in the right major. We'll put it on social media. We'll do everything we can to help you get as much exposure as possible. So anyway, that's the second step for finding your interns. And then the third step is to interview students. And again, I'm thinking past COVID-19, I'm hopeful, but we have interview rooms on campus and a lot of employers come, and we have great facilities here, and a lot of employers come in and conduct interview sessions in our office. And sometimes students are more comfortable interviewing on campus and it's easier for them. So you can do that. Don't have to do it that way. They certainly can come to you, but we offer that as well too. And then I'll also add on this, a lot of times, employers will say, can you give me recommendations on students? And we can connect you with faculty that have worked, in depth with these students, and they can tell you their impressions, and they're happy to do that. So we want to help you get as much good information so that you can pick the best student for you and your internship. Couple of other just real quick things, and then I'm done. We have an internship week every fall semester. We started last November, and this November we're going to do it the 2nd through the 6th. And it may look a little different this year, but we're going to have some good information and more details to come on that. But I just wanted you to be aware of that. And I also wanted to highlight if for some reason you have had an intern that was awesome from WT, or somebody that did an internship that it was an amazing experience. Every fall we award what's called the WT Intern of the Year, and it's $1,000 to the student, but they can go and apply for this award in September, and October 1st is the deadline. But anyway, you can click on this link and find more details. If you know of a student, WT student, that had an outstanding experience, encourage them to apply for the WT Intern of the Year. $1,000, and it's a great way to recognize internships in the area. And then this is our contact information. And I just want to emphasize, if we can help you in any way, because sometimes I think, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming about how do I go about this internship thing. If you just want to reach out to us, we will be more than happy to help you, coach you, give you ideas, brainstorm, connect you with as many people on campus as we possibly can. So we all win when you guys get a good intern, and that's what we're all about. So anyway, that's everything. Do you guys have questions, or is there anything else that I can talk about or answer? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here.
Okay, any questions or comments? Steve, that was amazing information. Thank you so much. I have actually one question. Whenever somebody hires a WT student or an Amarillo College student, assuming Amarillo College, as an intern, does that opportunity have to be connected to college credit?
It doesn't have to be connected to college credit. So if the student can use it, and we'll help the student kind of explore whether that's a good option for them. Some students, there's a place on their degree plan for credit, and if that's the case, we'll try to help them get that. Some students don't need the credit, and so it certainly doesn't have to be a for credit thing, and we don't want students paying for hours that aren't going to count towards a degree. So if they don't need the credit, if there's not room on their degree plan, we're not going to encourage them to take it for credit. So, but the answer to your question is no, it doesn't have to be associated with credit. And you guys feel free to email me or call or whatever if you have additional questions. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, now we would like to welcome Nicole Eminger with CNS Pantex. Nicole has been on our workforce for a couple of years now, Nicole, that's right. And we're really excited to have her. And so Pantex does a lot of internships. each year, and they facilitated even virtual internships. So we're excited to learn more about that. Nicole is going to be telling us about building internship capabilities. So we consider her an expert. Nicole, I'm going to turn it over to you and stop sharing that screen so you can share.
All right.
And while Nicole is getting set up, I do
I'm working.
real quickly, just if you have,
No, go ahead.
If you have any questions, type them into Zoom or type them into Menti, either way. And if we don't see them or don't get to them, I will email them to the appropriate people and get the answers back to you.
All right. Well, I'm excited to share some, just experience with all of you. I'm not sure how many of you, currently have internships or have experienced those. It can be a little scary whenever you think about, it's, because it's a challenge, it's something new, but hopefully with the tools that Steve and Sabrina both shared with you, you can see that it really there are resources here to help you. And, creating an internship program is something that it doesn't look the same for every company. And so it looks different. So as we go through, if you have questions, we'll certainly allow time for that at the end. But I just want to share a little bit about what has worked for us and how we've adapted our program due to the changing workforce needs, the changing environment that we're in. The world of work has changed. And so we've made those changes as well. Just whenever you think about an internship program, it's really important to realize that it's not just something to do just because it sounds good. There are extremely valuable benefits of an internship program, not just for the students. As Steve shared, it is important for students to get that experience, but it also is beneficial. Oh, UPS is here. Teleworking today. But for your company as well. So having an internship program, it creates a pipeline of potential employees for your organization. So it might be that you don't have a need for a permanent full-time position right now, but look ahead, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, what is your company gonna need? And an internship program helps to prepare and build that pipeline for you. And you can think of it as a long-term interview to help establish that pipeline and give employees or students experience with your company. So when they come back in, when you need a full-time person, they already have experience and they understand the mission. They understand what your company's about and how your processes work. So you can already have that onboarding already a step ahead. New students bring new ideas. They are highly motivated. They want to succeed. They want to prove themselves, and they bring fresh insight to your company. So it's important to realize, that if you're, maybe stagnant or you're looking at exploring some new things, consider an internship to help bring in some new life. That could be a short-term commitment to really help invigorate your business or your capabilities. An internship program, it helps you and your business to create a partnership with universities, whether they're local, AC and WT, or anywhere around the country. For Pantex, we have a reach all the way across the country from coast to coast. And so we have used Handshake and other avenues to help make connections across the country to not only reach out to the capable, skilled workforce here and the students from our area, but also those across the country as well, to let them know about what's going on here in Amarillo and the opportunities available to them in our region. I already talked a little bit about short-term projects. If you have something that's going on, maybe you have a specialized, effort that's going on, or you need some research conducted, consider partnering with the schools locally, the programs, the business colleges, whatever that is here locally, to reach out and find students who are trained and growing in those areas. And it creates an advocate for your company. An internship program, while yes, you are hiring a student, right? but you have a business here in the area, right? Each one of us, we have a business, we have something, whether it's nonprofit or whatever it is that your business does. And so when you hire a student, you are in effect creating a network with their family, with their friends. They are spreading the word about what's going on at your company, their excitement. So you're creating advocates for your company, you're building your pipeline, your reach, and also you're creating new fans of your company. So it is a benefit to you and to the student. And my computer's glitching. There we go. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, whenever you're thinking about your program and your internship program, what works for Pantex may not work for you. What works for one employer will not work at another, possibly. So you need to decide what is the right fit. So up until 2019, Pantex had a purely on-site internship program all the way up through 2019. So every year, we followed a typical in-person program where the students moved here. It was a 10-week program, and they started on day one. We had a huge intern orientation welcome event, and then they were here 10 weeks. And at the end of the summer, we had an event and we debriefed them. They presented their summer projects, and then they went home, at the end of that 10 weeks. Well, COVID changed everything for us, so we had to take a step back and reevaluate. So what might work for your company is to have a completely virtual internship, and I'll share some information on that in a minute. But what we ended up with was a hybrid. So our interns all onboarded virtually. We sent them information, we sent them their packets, everything they needed. And then as their schedule and as we reopened, because we were affected by COVID as well. So at what made sense for that employee, they started coming on site. Some of them split their time and they came into on site 2 days a week, or maybe on Mondays and Fridays, and then they worked from home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We made it fit what worked for that student and for the organization. And some other things that you'll want to consider about your internship, and it doesn't matter if it's virtual or not, but you want to think about the season, the timing. Is it summer internship? You don't have to limit your thinking to just a summer internship. If you're big time and you really need to have someone, extra focus on a project in the spring months or during the school year, whatever that looks like, make the schedule fit what you need and the length of time. Our program was 10 weeks. We started the week after Memorial Day, and then the students were here on site for 10 full weeks. The program lasted, but whatever works for you, make it fit. You want to make sure before you start a program, need enough. I'll just say this, the need alone is not enough reason to start the program. You want to make sure that you have the support and resources available to help make sure that the program is successful for the student and for your company. The worst thing would be to start a program, hire an intern, get them here, and then realize we were not ready for this, what's going to happen? So you want to make sure that you have a strong support and the resources available, buy-in from management, from your HR team, from the managers who'll be supporting them on a daily basis. So just consider all of that as well. And share some tips, what has worked for us. Just like I said, our program has evolved. For 2020, we started looking back at what worked, what didn't work, what we had to change. And I actually reached out to the program coordinator for this year, and she shared some information with me. And it's funny because this is the exact same thing I would have told you if we were having a completely on-site program. So the mechanics of the program doesn't change just because your format may be a little bit different. The first thing you need to do early on is identify your stakeholders and your resources before you even start the program. As Sabrina mentioned, most competitive internship programs start planning. Like, we are on a continual internship planning cycle. The interns leave in early August, and we are on campuses and partnering with schools at the end of August, preparing for fall career fairs. So it is a continual cycle. And so you need to identify early on, before you post the position, where is this intern going to be? Who's going to be their manager? How can we partner with them? What are we going to need from different organizations? I'll give you an example, something that came up this year. As we actually, last August, when we started hiring and making offers to interns and interviewing, we had no idea that we were going to have, a global pandemic hit, right? And so we had to pivot in February, March timeframe, like, what's this going to look like for us? So we realized, okay, we're going to onboard our interns virtually. That meant sending them packets and preparing documents that we were going to hand them in orientation traditionally. So we had to reach out to our transportation, shipping and receiving, to find out what are the capabilities, how far in advance do we need this, what information do you need? And we had to get with our IT department, because to access our networks, we had to have a VPN token so that they could sign in. We had to ensure they had the software and everything they needed to log in from their personal devices into our virtual network. So those were resources that we had to identify quickly to adapt our program to the virtual type program. It was critical to be open and communicate with all of those internal resources. And then we started reaching out and setting expectations with our interns who were coming on board or preparing to onboard, and also with the hiring managers, because the program was going to look different this year. So we reached out to them, and we actually began preparing our interns for the program 8 weeks before the internship actually began. So we held weekly Skype meeting or WebEx meetings with our interns, and it was just an hour-long weekly virtual meeting that gave them the chance to get to know one another, because in this virtual world, can you imagine working with a team of people that you've never seen, you've never laid eyes on, you've never been in the same room with them? And so we started building those connections early on so that they were familiar and comfortable with one another long before the internship officially began. We covered information they would need to know, expectations, and just things that they needed, how the program was going to work. And we did those weekly. Sometimes we had the same discussion topics every week, things that we strategically needed them to know and remember as they were preparing for their internship program. And then we did the same thing with managers. Not quite 8 weeks in advance, but we did hold manager training for each of the internship managers to tell them, and help them to manage a virtual internship, because it was going to look different than managing a normal employee who has been with us and they know the expectations. So we gave them that training as well. We partnered each of our interns with a mentor and connected the interns and the managers prior to the program start date. We shared email addresses, phone numbers, and they were connecting beforehand so that they had that rapport and built trust and comfort in sharing with one another. So that was a really big win for us in building those connections to ensure that the program was successful. I can't understate the importance of onboarding and how that works to make sure that the interns felt like they were truly a part of the organization, not an afterthought. It is valuable. So whatever that looks like for your organization, we had to revamp what that looked like. The packet that they received, the welcome packet, everything had to be done virtually. There are legally, there are HR forms and things that had to be done differently to remain in compliance. So don't overlook that, so that you are presenting your best face for your company. And you'll notice that every one of those 4 things there, all of those take place before the intern ever starts the program. It's all about, in my opinion, and what's worked best for us is the preparation that goes into beforehand. Just sharing a few more things with you. As we started looking at opportunities and what we were going to do, you know, there was a talk of, well, do we just need to cancel our internships? And a lot of companies did that, right? I mean, everybody's like, what are we going to do? We're just trying to maintain our business. COVID's here. What's going to happen? And so that was a consideration for about a half a second, because we believe that the value and the importance of investing in early career pre-professionals and investing in the future workforce outweighed the challenge and the little bit of extra work that we had to put into that. So we had to consider, you know, what are the risks, what are the benefits? And really for us, it came down to the benefits of that I shared earlier, you know, that building our future workforce, creating those partnerships and maintaining and the enduring relationship that we had with those students and with our mission. It was too important to us for the future to take a short-term approach in canceling this year's program. So we made that work. Technology was the biggest challenge, I'll tell you, because relying on technology, which, you know, it's working today, fingers crossed, but, you know, with telework and working from home, we had to become agile and relying on technology and learning to flex and adjust. And so that was a big challenge that we faced. But it was worth it also knowing that we were keeping our workforce safe. And so that was the right thing, to keep students safe and still provide them those opportunities. I will just share one more thing with you. And this is something that we shared with all of our summer intern managers. And again, whether it's a virtual internship or an on-site internship, it is a continual loop. And really it comes down to being, you know, communication is the flow whenever you're managing an intern, because they're no less of an employee than a permanent full-time employee. So we provide ongoing feedback, and an intern is learning to put wheels, they're putting feet on their education, right? We're giving them the experience to learn, to put into practice what they've learned in the classroom and what they've spent their time learning. So it's important as a company that we are providing them honest, ongoing feedback about how they're doing, what they can do better, how they can improve, what we need from them, and to give them real work, challenging assignments, giving them a chance to show what they're worth. I was excited when I saw Sabrina share the picture of the interns sitting at the park from last summer, because that was a group of Pantex interns from last summer. And looking at it, I was like, oh, I know Stephen is now he's a full-time permanent employee at Pantex. And Madeline, she is doing her graduate fellowship at a school, and she used her internship at Pantex to help qualify her for that graduate program. And so the assignments, the challenges, the things that they learned in that internship not only benefited us, but it helped that student to grow to their next step in their career. So as we communicated and gave them those opportunities, it's launched them into what's next for them. And so we actually we do a performance evaluation on every single intern at the end of the summer to give them honest, candid feedback. And many of our interns walk away with either a returning offer for an internship the next summer or a full-time permanent offer upon graduation. So that's exciting, and that's one of our main goals, is to help, whether it's at our site or at another site, to help prepare that student for what comes next for them in their journey. All right, so, you know, open it up for Q&A, but just, you know, what I would say is plan ahead is the biggest part of making an internship program successful. Communicate early, often. You can't over communicate. You know, create a plan, but don't be afraid to adjust. If something needs to change, if something's not working, or it's going to be a challenge and you need to work around it, adjust, pivot, right? All right, so I'll open it up now if anybody has any questions on what we did, what didn't work, or you have any insights that you want to share. I'd love to hear from you as well.
Hey, Nicole, I do have a question too. Can you help us understand so when you're managing a virtual internship, what does that look like? Like, what does the intern actually do? And I know that will differ by company, but maybe an example will help me understand. But what do they do, and where do they work, and that kind of thing?
Right, so I can tell you what worked for us is we do a weekly, okay, two things. One, the management of the intern is actually assigned to a supervisor. So they have a specific supervisor who they're on their team, and they're managing their task and creating their work assignments. And so the manager for us, we have, Skype and email and phone, and every week, each team was different, but what we recommended is that there was at least a once a week face-to-face, whether it's virtual or in-person check-in, where the intern intentionally met with their supervisor at least once a week in a conversation to support them. But more than that, we assigned them, or they had a mentor on their team who was effectively their work buddy, they were a part of that team. They were invited to every staff meeting or project meeting, whatever was going on. So they were an active part of the work that was going on, exposed to the real world of work. And then also to help ensure that employees or interns were receiving meaningful work, we actually had a weekly report, we called it a war report, and it was 3 questions. What are you working on right now? What is coming up in your work assignments? And are there any obstacles or challenges that you're facing? And so each week at the last work day of the week, whatever that day was for that intern, they would send the intern coordinator their war report with the answers to those 3 questions. What are you working on right now? What do you have coming up in the next couple of weeks? And then are there any challenges or obstacles that we can help you with? And we would review that. And if there was any challenges, or if a student wasn't getting work, or they felt like they were lost or didn't have support, then we as HR could help engage with that manager and kind of reset that relationship to make sure that the intern was getting what they needed from the work assignment. Does that help any?
Yes, that does. So a lot of their work, I guess, would be research-based or working with documents and that kind of thing. So not, not as much. I mean, obviously that's hands-on because they're working with it, but it's not at the facility, right?
Right. Well, the interns who remained off-site, that was their work. But the interns who, came on and did that hybrid, it depended specifically on their work, because we had interns in engineering and development, and we've had interns in HR. Last year, it's pretty funny. We had an intern who helped us draft the framework for an apprenticeship program. And so that was her summer project. And then we've had interns in our wildlife biology and environmentalist. So it just depends on what that intern specific role is as to how hands-on they could get in their assignment.
And so for the hybrid ones, they would work on those things in the at the facility, and then when they were at home, they would work on something related to that, I guess.
Right, because they had full access to all of their documents and work files. So, if I'm sitting at a laptop, it doesn't matter if I'm logged into the network, which that was that packet that we had to send them with their VPN token. And so they had access to the same files, folders, share drives at home that they would have if they were sitting in their office at the plant.
Who else has questions?
I have a question. Were there any unexpected outcomes or something that was different that you usually see with regular in-person interns that you got out of the virtual ones or hybrids? That's just that was just a different outcome that you haven't had before because you had to adapt?
What was interesting is that the virtual internships forced communication between the manager and the intern, because they couldn't rely on, you know, oh, just letting them follow somebody around or learn by osmosis. There was no osmosis. And so it forced communication more than ever before. There were more team meetings. There were more Skype calls than we'd ever used before, which created this interesting, surprising unity. And we also had to help our interns. We've always offered professional development. In the past, we would have once a week, we would have a workshop or some sort of gathering that all the interns were required to participate in. And we carried that over into our program this year. So we had Skype meetings, and we actually partnered with our leadership development training group and our Lean Six Sigma group to have once a week a focused training to help develop these employees to learn things that they haven't necessarily learned or had, you know, on how to communicate, how to, you know, with people who maybe don't respond the same way as you, to work in a virtual team with somebody who doesn't understand technology, where for our interns, it was second nature. Yeah, their whole spring semester was via Skype and online, but it was a new world. So they were actually put in a place to help train their peers who were experienced workers. So it gave them a chance to grow professionally as well. And that was an added capability that we put in this year, more than just once a week. We had those ongoing throughout the whole summer.
There's a question in the chat from Mercy Murguia. Is there a template job description that can be used as you build out your internship? And Steve may be able to add to this as well.
Steve, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I'll chime in. We do have some example job descriptions we can share. And we're working on, that's one of our projects actually that our office is working on, is developing a kind of a basic template just to use around the university. And I'm happy to share that with you. I don't have just a boilerplate standard one, but we can certainly help you with that.
And I'll just point out that Sabrina just put a link in the chat to a best practices manual, which can help anyone who needs assistance in that.
Speaking of technology, Nicole, were there any technology barriers for your interns? Any interns who, you know, didn't have the correct technology to be able to do a virtual program?
Well, when we realized that we were going to a virtual format, we started reaching out and connecting with them to help address, identify, and eliminate those barriers early on. So interns that did not have the right system, maybe they needed to update their, software on their computer, or they needed we sent them a list of what they would need, and we began testing that early on to help eliminate those barriers. We did not have any instances where someone was unable to fulfill their internship because they didn't have the technology in place. We were able to address and identify and resolve all those issues ahead of time. But that was the importance of planning ahead and recognizing what was going to be needed, partnering with our IT department. They created one sheets and guides that we were able to share with interns for them to test their system in advance of the internship start date. That way they didn't lose time. They were able to hit the ground running when the internship program actually began.
Any other questions, you guys? Things you're curious about? Okay, I just have one last question. You mentioned, and I think this is really important, but you mentioned that it's really important for companies to put their best face forward from onboarding on with internships. And why is that so important? What can a happy intern do for you?
All right, so, I'm in HR, and so we know for any employee, You know, new employees to an organization decide within their first 90 days if they're going to stay there for any length of time. That timeline is compressed exponentially for an intern because you're looking at a shortened program already. And so onboarding day one, the even just spelling errors and the way you present yourself, if it's a quality PowerPoint, whatever it is, the aesthetics, the look, it speaks to your company, to the value that you're placing in how you present yourself. So a happy, engaged intern is going to be committed to your company's vision, to where you're going. They are, like I said earlier, you're creating an advocate, an ally, a face for your company when they go back to their school. You know, whether it's to WTAC or anywhere around the country, if they're telling about the amazing opportunity they had, the experience, the challenging assignment, the work they got to do, this really cool project they completed, and they're talking about your company at their school, to their friends, to their family members, you're creating a possible new employee in the future who wants to come back, and they already have that experience. So you've got a built-in, you know, maybe you have an employee who is looking at retiring in the next couple of years, and you need to start doing some knowledge transfer to help get somebody ready. An intern is a great way to do that. Have them come in 1 or 2 summers to help in advance of that employee retiring, you know, doing some knowledge transfer. But there's so many things that an intern can bring to your company right now and for the future. So it's definitely worth the investment and the time.
Very good. Last chance. Who else has a question? Well, Nicole, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. You've taken the time and a great presentation. Really appreciate it. It's given us all, I know, a lot of stuff to think about. If you have questions, if you think of any, email them to me, to Kimberly, and we will get them to the right people. We will also give you the slides that, as well as a link to this recording after the meeting, so that you have access to all of that, and you'll have Nicole and Steve and Sabrina's email address if you want to reach out to them. So any last thoughts, comments? I see you're all on Mentimeter. Thank you. Please do your little survey there and let us know what you thought, so that we can continue to improve our quarterly meetings, which will be virtual until we can figure out how to make them in person. I can't wait to see you all in person again and feed you. I think that was the biggest draw to our quarterly meetings, maybe the food. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate you. And our next virtual meeting will be in October, and we'll be sending out information about that next month. So hope to see you then too. Thanks for joining us. Y'all have a great day.